From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
What up, everybody? Timely edition of Wake Up War Chant. Today is going to be myself and Michael Langston. We're giving the big guy a rest. We're going to keep Corey in the bullpen, let him rest up. Michael and I are going to traverse the world of recruiting, or I'm just going to ask questions. Michael's going to give us all the information. If you're not a member of WarChant.com, you're missing out on all of Michael's insight into recruiting and the latest on all Florida State sports. Check us out for 30 free days. Use the promo code WarChant30. If you don't like it, you're obligated to leave. It's fine. It's a free country. It's how it works. But we have a feeling you probably won't leave. Anywho, Michael, how are you, man?
I'm fantastic, man. How's it going?
Good, man. I haven't heard you this like chipper and upbeat in a long while, man.
I always get jacked up when it's around signing day because that means the end, and it's been a long, exhausting process for a whole year, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens and see how they finish this class with.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's still signing day to me. The first Wednesday in February. This whole early signing thing to me is still weird. I'm still OG, man. I'm still all about February. But I guess before we talk about forecasting and all that kind of stuff, let's kind of take a step back to this past weekend. Florida State hosting a handful of guys on official visits. Probably none more of a target for people at home that are following this sort of stuff than the quarterback position with John Rhys Plumlee out of Mississippi. Obviously, always tough to pull kids like that out of southern states. Always tough to pull kids out of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. What were your feelings when you spoke to him? I guess maybe his tone, his body language, and the things he told you after that visit.
I think it was really, really good. I mean, we already have an article and everyone's read it. Exceeded his expectations a lot. This kid is I know people will never really get a chance to meet him, assuming unless he goes to FSU, but this is one impressive young man. Just being around him, my 18 years, this is probably the most impressive quarterback I've been around, just as far as his demeanor and his focus. As far as everything, very, very respectful. I think FSU did one heck of a job this weekend. You always go back to, when somebody's had a longer relationship, especially a kid from Mississippi. I hear that FSU feels really good as far as everything they got done this weekend. They feel there's a shot to pull it off. They feel it's really close, and they feel they haven't done enough that they can get it done. I'm a little skeptical on that just because the relationships and that long, but I just still go back to just the relationships and, but I've been surprised before, Aslan, 100 times, and you never know with these kids. And he's always said with Plumlee that he's going to go where the best fit is, where with baseball and everything involved. I can also say that he is very close. He likes Kendall Briles a lot. His family likes it, and they would be totally comfortable if he went to FSU. I'm skeptical he'll pick FSU, not based on information or anything. It's just a gut feeling, but I've been surprised before. I haven't made a final call on that yet. I'm still figuring it out, but I think they did everything they needed to do to accomplish it, and we'll just have to wait and see how that shakes out. But certainly FSU hit on all the key points that I mentioned before the visit.
You mentioned relationships. I know he actually has a pretty solid one with Jacob Peeler, who's the receivers coach at Ole Miss, and obviously that's the in-state school. But I think when it comes down to it, Hattiesburg literally might be just as close to Tallahassee than Oxford. So when it comes down to that whole home field advantage sort of thing, it does come down to culture, relationships, and the way you feel. So if the family's on board, that's always an encouraging sign. Do you think the news with DeAndre being dismissed from the team, it obviously can't hurt, but do you think that could be a factor maybe here in the next 48 hours as he tries to make up his mind? Because you could literally practically be one snap away from being the starting quarterback at Florida State as a true freshman at this point.
Yeah, and you're probably the best fit out of anybody that they have there. So, I'll be very surprised. I didn't ask because I wanted to focus everything on I could have told John that when we talked, but I really wanted to just focus on the visit. I will be shocked if FSU did not mention that to him, because it certainly happened with DeAndre before they left. So I would be surprised if that wasn't covered, that he is no longer at FSU. And so I'm sure that was covered by FSU. And you have to think that has a factor into this thing, because you talk about fit and get on the field early. And I would imagine that's part of the reason why, he kind of backed away from Georgia too. They're offering a blue shirt, but still, I think playing time is always big to a quarterback. I mean, that's the one position where playing time's big, because kids want to get on the field. And when he knows, that's the thing that kind of leaves me up in the air why I haven't made a pick yet, is because, that determining factor is, he knows he could play maybe in the first year, might even start his first year, so with FSU. And the other fact is he's comfortable with Browse. He really likes that offense. He really likes everything he does. He mentioned that everywhere he's been, this guy has been phenomenal. So I don't think Ole Miss can use that kind of thing. I mean, Rich Rod is pretty good, but I don't think you can back up the numbers the way you can back up the numbers with Browse. So that's going to be something that he's got to figure out, as far as the right fit. So that's kind of part of the reason why I haven't made a final call with the DeAndre Francois factor. That could help FSU, but we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Right. And at least, and definitely from Florida State's perspective, I mean, you want to talk about fit, not so much Plumlee fitting with Florida State, but what Florida State needs in a quarterback is a sort of the concepts and stuff that he runs at Oak Grove. I mean, I knew Drew Causey, the head football coach at Oak Grove High School in Mississippi, and he's one of the better head coaches in that state. And they do run up-tempo spread concepts. I mean, what most top-notch, high-level high school programs run. So from at least Florida State's perspective, Ole Miss can offer the whole fact you got Rich Rod being your OC, but it's like Florida State desperately is craving a guy who can fit their offense. And there's nobody on their board that might have a bigger sort of fit or a better fit than him. So hopefully that'll play well too. Has anything changed with the Louisiana quarterback, Lance? And I think it's Legendre. I think I heard it pronounced that way. So I've been totally goofing.
No, I don't think there's anything new there. I think he visited Maryland. I think it's a good visit, but I think he's been wanting to be at FSU. I mean, I think the only question with Lance is the grades,
right?
And that's my only question too. Is just how he fit with the grades, and this isn't a down slight on Lance. It's just when you look at Plumlee, he has all the things that are going to make that locker room incredible if he was the guy that's in there. But I think with Lance, I think they sit in a good spot. I think really it comes down to what happens with his grade situation if he makes it. I hear he's close, but we really don't know the exact every factor in his academics yet. So that's really the only question as far as my mind. I will be surprised if it's not FSU.
Folks, a reminder that the National Signing Day party for Florida State will be going down as usual at the Tallahassee Automobile Museum, 6 p.m. Wednesday night. I think it's going to be $40 to come join the party. You get a free dinner out of it too, though. Check out the Florida State Booster website to sign up and get more information. Again, that will be Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Another visitor that was on campus, but I don't know if we call him a visitor because this is going to be his home now, is Northern Illinois transfer Ryan Roberts, the offensive lineman. You were able to catch up with him. I know you wrote a story about it. Was there anything else that kind of caught your eye, or just sizing him up, or just maybe his enthusiasm for the opportunity he has now in Tallahassee?
I think he's really just the one thing I noticed is that this kid's like all business. He's like, you could tell like he didn't. But he like it. I mean, kids like being wine and dine and stuff. I don't think that was that big on him. I think it was mainly just being around the players, how comfortable we feel, seeing what it is. I mean, the main thing I take away is, this kid was only there for one weekend, and he was like, people read about the internet about them talking about family, but he's like, FSU, it's like real when you're around these guys. So you could really see his comfort with the players that, that part of FSU that everyone talks about is very real. And I think, it only solidified that he knew he made the right choice. He likes Greg Fry a lot. That's obvious. And the other thing I noticed is, like, this kid is huge, Aslan. Like, he is he was first listed, what we heard was, like, 275. This kid's, like, 6'6", like 305 now, and got a great frame. And I think his mindset is what you need to be when you bring a transfer in. It isn't like, oh, I come in there and, I want to start and everything, but it's like, I'm ready to get to work. I want to earn everything. He wants to earn everything, and he wants to earn the respect of all his teammates. And this kid's focused on that, and I can tell he's pretty locked into what he needs to do, and he had the right mindset that you're looking for from a grad transfer.
Do we know if he'll be, when he's planning on enrolling, will he be coming in the summer, or will he be able to go through spring?
Probably be the summer because he graduates in May.
Okay.
So I would assume he's going to be there right after May.
All right, right on. Sticking with the offensive line position, Darius Washington, the silent giant, I guess we can say, 6'3", 290 out of Pensacola, Florida, went to the same high school as Keyshawn Helton. Long-time commitment to Mississippi State. I think he tweeted the other night that he's gone ahead and decommitted.
Right.
So that obviously opens the door for some other schools. How many schools are in the thick of it, do you think, amongst Florida State?
I think it's mainly Miami, FSU. I mean, those are the two teams. Miami's been recruiting them a little bit longer. I think FSU could have made it a little easier on themselves if they, offered earlier. But he's already got a teammate he's really close to at FSU. It's closer in distance. He likes FSU. He likes Fry a lot. He likes Taggart and everything they're doing. I think FSU got the last in home. I think everything clicked well, but it goes back to longer relationship or the place I always wanted to go to. And I think it's close, but if I had to decide, I would side just with FSU just on knowing how much you wanted to be there. I think right now, like I said, we haven't made our final picks, but I think FSU would be my slight favorite going into the prediction part.
Look at that, man. What a difference a week makes. Just, things feel a little more upbeat, a little more optimistic and positive around Florida State now. Crazy how that works.
It's wild, but there's a lot going on. You just got to, the main thing, people think, oh, this is just easy. You just make a pick and just pick one of the teams. Like, no, there's a lot that goes into this stuff, and you got to factor in everything. And, that's why you got to take sure you take your time and everything and look at everything. And right now, that's kind of the mindset I have as far as looking at. I don't really react too much quickly to, kids coming off visits and stuff. You got to let stuff settle down, and then you just got to dive into, how these things look like they're going to shake out.
Yeah. Real quick, back to Plumlee. Is there any chance he commits before Wednesday morning, or is he going to wait till the final minute, you think?
That's what I don't know, because he kind of hinted he's going to come to a decision like Monday or Monday night, and then he kind of hinted that he might announce it. So we might hear something on Monday night, and then we might hear something, later. You might wait till Wednesday just to announce it. So right now, we really don't know that yet.
Okay. Just two other prospects we probably should touch on. One just kind of briefly turn to defense, unless there's anybody else you think we should mention before we get to how Junior Day went. Quayshawn Fuller, that's still – Florida State's still probably in the lead on that, you feel?
Well, he really likes Alabama a lot, and I've always felt this, that he's been enamored by Alabama. I think if it was up to Quayshawn alone, Quayshawn, you probably favor Alabama. Everything went well. I've heard everything from the Alabama side that it was really good, and, they felt it went really well. The problem is Mama is all FSU. And I said this on my recruiting nuggets right after on Monday. Quayshawn wanted to transfer to Dunbar High School when he was leaving South Fort Myers. Mom's like, no, I want Lehigh. He's like, but Mom, I want Dunbar. He's like, you're going to Lehigh. Fuller went to Lehigh. So it's already been seen that Mom wants, Mom gets. So, and she seems to be adamant about FSU. That's why I've always stuck with that FSU pick. So unless that somehow can change, I think you'll see, Quayshawn signing with FSU.
See, parents giveth, parents taketh away. So it'll be kind of maybe a wash if Nick Cross ends up going to Penn State, everybody. So you can't have them all. But Mom helping us out there with Fuller, sounds like. And then Jay Ward from Moultrie. It seems like, Florida State made a real big push for that trio out of Colquitt County with Fitzgerald the kicker and Kamar Bell. Where do you think Florida State stands right now, I guess, with Jay Ward as we come down to the nitty-gritty and the home stretch?
That was a kind of an interesting one. I think going into the visit, one FSU source told me they thought A&M was the biggest competition, which was surprising me. I thought for sure it'd be Kentucky, and then the other one felt it was Kentucky, as far as being the main competition, and then followed the visit, got some good vibes as far as the FSU side's concerned. I think they feel they're the slight leader for Jay Ward. They're going to take him regardless of what Nick Cross does. That means they take eight, but they want to take him regardless. So I think it's a tight battle with FSU, Kentucky, and I don't have a final call on that yet, but I think right now I'm kind of leaning a little bit slightly towards FSU on that one, but still got to get some stuff to figure out and see which way I'm going to pick. But I think that's kind of where I stand with that.
In your experience, Michael, like what happens in the last 24, 36 hours that seems to make kids flip?
Well, you have to know who the decision makers are that help in the process with the kid. Sometimes, when you take late visits like Ward and Plumlee and people like that, the people that are being influenced in it, they're kind of like, I kind of like this team a little bit more, but, and so they kind of give their take on it. And so that kind of pushes kids. And then kids start breaking down the pros and cons, and, they see one school that has a little bit more than maybe what the other school has, as far as their comfort level and their, whether they're a student there or a player, they could feel more confident in that situation. So that's kind of what you go through on these final visits. So a lot of that's just influence, and then also what kids see, and then, focusing, flying back on even Nick Cross, everyone has them penciled in to flip the Penn State, and then, or Georgia, who's a team we hear a lot, but then I heard on Monday that from a source that's from the Georgia side that the message they got was that Nick Cross called Georgia and informed them that he's going to stick with FSU. So you have to take all that stuff in consideration. What the thing with Nick is, what I've said along is, the decision is just up to him. I think he wants to go to FSU and he plans on signing there. So if that happens, I think he'll be at FSU. Now, if the parents are adamant and they don't want him there, then, Penn State will probably be the team. But I think it's definitely going to be one of those two. I've kind of stayed consistent with that. I think it'll be one of those two. But, right now, like I said, I haven't made a final call, but right now I'm kind of starting to lean a little bit slightly towards FSU back again, even though I mentioned Penn State last week. So, Aslan, these things change a lot, and people just think you just put it out there just for clicks and just to say it's like this is just the way the process works, that there's so many shifts in these recruitments.
Man, to be a fly on the wall, like at the Cross household on a Tuesday night, after dinner. So, I mean, that's when it happens, right? That's like, all right, we've gone back and forth for 3 months over this. Like, this is what's happening. And no one's going to know until Wednesday morning. So it's crazy how that works. Let's look even further into the future now, Michael. How would you describe or assess how Junior Day went down? I know Florida State got a commitment from a linebacker. Maybe fill me in on him. I'm not too well versed on the class of 2020 yet. But what were your feelings about maybe the profile of kid, the way they looked, the way they played, things like that from what you saw at Junior Day?
Well, we got a commitment from quarterback Jeff Sims from over there in Jacksonville, Sandalwood. In Jacksonville, Florida. They got him, and then they got linebacker Steven Dix, who is the cousin of Ha Clinton Dix, who plays with the Packers and Redskins now. So, he's got a lot of good genes. And so a big-time pickup as far as big hard-time hitter. I think he's like a composite 4-star linebacker. I think by the time everyone ranks him the properly the right way, he'll be a 4-star linebacker. Woody's been on him for a long time. I actually thought he would do it at Junior Day, but he waited till after it was over and then called the FSU staff. That's always been his dream school. They did a great job early on getting in the home there, and just another physical type of linebacker, can play inside, most probably inside linebacker, but he can play outside if you need him to, and just kind of fits that void of what he's looking for. So I thought the Junior Day in general was really good. You had 2 5-stars on campus, and McKinley Jackson, defensive tackle from Mississippi, and then you also had Fred Davis, who defensive back from Jacksonville, who also visited. So when you look at all the talent they got, I mean, you combine that in with you're hosting official visitors. I think it was pretty strong visitor list considering what they had to juggle, and a great list of guys. There's a lot of positive stuff from that event. So I think overall it was a pretty good success for them.
Dude, this Mckinley Jackson kid from George County, Mississippi, 6'3", 317 defensive tackle. He'll never get ID'd if whatever university he goes to. Like he already looks like a grown man, right?
Yeah, he's a massive human being, and he reminds me a lot just of Marvin, the way just his persona, just the way he looks at things, and he's kind of an Odell type of guy that he likes. That's just genuine, likes to keep stuff real and everything, and that's the way kind of Marvin was. But he's taken 3 visits now to FSU, so he's very high on them, and certainly a guy they're going to push for and have a good chance with in the future.
Yeah, another thing too, geographically, folks, George County, that's south eastern Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. It's down there. It's another city that's probably closer to Tallahassee than it would be Oxford or somewhere like that. So interesting that there's talent. There wasn't talent in that sort of part of the state, but it's starting to percolate. So that's pretty interesting. All right, Michael, I'm done with you for today, man. I think we're going to actually catch up on Tuesday, and we're going to do a video chat, live streaming on YouTube. We'll be able to take most everyone's questions. Subscribers will be able to access your nuggets, a breakdown as we head into the final moments before sign day kicks off. So I'll be on the lookout for that, everybody. Thanks for the time, Michael.
You got it, man.
All right, folks, thanks for listening. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Have a great one.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.